The living room is where you make life's most beautiful memories. But your sofa shouldn't be the one remembering them. The new life-resistant, high-performance furniture collection from Ashley is designed to withstand all the spills, slip-ups, and muddy paws that come with the best parts of life. Ashley high-performance sofas and recliners are soft, on-trend, and easy to clean. Shop the high-performance furniture in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
This episode brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
Last year,
it's happened!
They went and took it.
He struck him out looking!
This year,
the Texas Rangers win the World Series!
They're here to run it back.
It's over!
This is Believe in Texas Rangers. Hosted by Mitch Ferreldis.
Are we ready to make a declaration on this season? Or are reinforcements on the way? Welcome into this episode of Believe in Texas Rangers, and it's been a while. For those of you that are not aware, I haven't really been talking about it all that much, but I had been sick with the flu for the last week of games, so I was not able to talk after the Giants series was done, ahead of the Dodgers series. I was not able to talk after the Dodgers series, ahead of this Mariners series. But here I am right now, Sunday evening late, where I am. I wanted to wait until the rehab or the Round Rock Express game was done because, as we'll get into in a second, Josh Young and Josh Spores were both rehabbing tonight. So I wanted to wait for those to conclude before I put together this episode. Anyway, I'm interrupting my whole spiel. Be sure that if you like Believe in Texas Rangers and you want more of your bite-sized Texas Rangers content, be sure to follow, leave a like, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or you can find Believe in Texas Rangers on YouTube, every episode in the RSS feed, and you can occasionally see clips, shorts, all that good stuff. So right now, we're going to start with what just happened, and that is, unfortunately, another bad ending to a road trip, and that is a 3-game sweep by the Mariners, who are just running away with the division right now in the AL West. Excuse me. They got a 5-0 win today, Sunday. They got a 7-5 win on Saturday, and then they got a 3-2 win on Friday. Very much close games until they weren't close games. I think would be the way I would describe it. This weird stretch that the Rangers have been on since I was able to last speak with you. So going back to that win against the Tigers, since then they have a total of 3 wins. They only took 1 out of 3 at home against the Giants. They miraculously took 2 out of 3 on the road against the Dodgers. The 2 wins were very close games. And then they just got swept by the Mariners. The most runs that they scored in any of those games, so the 3 against the Giants, the 3 against the Dodgers, and the 3 against the Mariners, the most that they scored in any of those games was 7. And that was the one that was at home. While they were on the road, the highest that they scored was 5. And they scored 5 twice. My concern right now is that this offense is just not producing consistently enough. I mean, yes, they got 2 wins against the Dodgers, and the pitching has been great, but they scored 3 runs in the win, 3 runs in the second win, and they scored twice in the loss. They gave up 15 runs in that loss as well. So it was a less than memorable series against the Dodgers, despite the fact that they were able to take 2 out of 3 in LA, which, don't get me wrong, that's super important. And it's going to matter down the stretch in terms of how we look back on the season. Like, well, hey, they took 2 out of 3 against everybody wants to crown them as the National League champions. Everybody wants to rush and crown them as the new World Series champions because they got Shohei Ohtani. But guess what? Rangers took 2 out of 3 against them. Like, that's a plus. This has just been a weird stretch. It's been a weird start to the month, too. When you go back to Miami, when they opened the month of June with a couple of wins against the Marlins. And then there was that Tigers series where they got just 1 win out of the 3 games. 1 win out of the 3 games against the Giants, the 2 against the Dodgers. So this month, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. And it's the 17th tomorrow. If you're listening to this right now, maybe it's the 17th already. But we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games into this month. And the Rangers are 6-8, which does not bode well given how rough it was for them towards the end of May. I mean, we know about the losing streak that they had dating back from the Angels all the way through the Twins series. And then we thought they got their footing again because they took the last game against the Twins, swept the 2-game World Series rematch against the Diamondbacks, and then took 2 out against the Marlins. And you would have thought, all right, this is kind of their boost pad. Like in Mario Kart, when you're driving along and you find a boost pad, their boost pad was supposed to be taking on the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, the Tigers, and then the Giants. And instead what they did was they got the 2 wins against the Diamondbacks, the 2 against the Marlins, but then they got 1 against the Tigers and 1 against the Giants. Not really much of a boost pad. If anything, they hit a banana peel at the end of the boost pad, and they gained nothing. They gained nothing as a result of those games. As far as the 6-game road trip is concerned, I mentioned the offense. They scored more than 3 runs just once over the course of the 6 games, and the Rangers have not hit a home run in the last 4. So it feels like just a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Corey Seager was on a ridiculous stretch where he had homered 8 times in 8 games. Well, now the team as a whole has not hit a home run in 4 games. Seattle's starting pitching also did a fantastic job in limiting what the Rangers were trying to do offensively. Seattle starters had thrown 20 innings, 9 hits allowed, 3 runs allowed, 3 walks allowed, and they threw 22 strikeouts, cemented by Logan Gilbert's outing on this Sunday. And for what it's worth, the entire Mariners rotation is just a juggernaut this year, which, you know, that was going to be their calling card for them this year. They did a lot of respectfully cost cutting when it came to the offense, and I don't think there were a lot of experts high on the Mariners' off season, but there were a lot of experts high on their pitching staff because it is well put together with Luis Castillo and Logan Gilbert and George Kirby and Brian Wu and Bryce Miller. Like, they've got a really solid 5, and they've been healthy for most of the year. That's what the Mariners really have going for them right now. Then there's the weird stat. Like, the importance of winning games comes not just in the first inning and the last inning, but through all the innings in between. I'm not trying to create rocket science here or trying to make myself sound smart. The Rangers have allowed 57 runs in the 7th inning this year. That's the worst in baseball. Now, maybe that's just minutia, focusing on the 7th inning in particular, but think about that for a second. If your starter throws 6 innings and 6 innings of really quality ball, you're telling me that the first guy out of the pen is then responsible for the team that you're trying to hold down after a strong start outing? They're allowing 57 runs in that 7th inning. That's the inning before David Robertson, and that's 2 innings before Kirby Yates. So you're putting yourself in a bind before you can even get into those later innings where you're eventually going to need to go to David Robertson and Kirby Yates because for whatever reason, whoever pitches in the 7th inning can't seem to hold things together. Again, 57 runs allowed in the 7th inning alone, and that's the worst in the league. It's a crazy stat. So, I teased at the top of the pod, are we ready to make a declaration or are reinforcements on the way? And I think you can answer it yes in both senses. And here's what I mean. Reinforcements are very much on the way. We'll get into it in a minute, but Max Scherzer made his 2nd rehab start on Saturday. And there's a very high outcome that he will be back during this homestand upcoming, starting with the New York Mets. Does that mean he's going to pitch in the series against the New York Mets? I don't know. I don't think it lines up with the 5-day stretch. Because if you consider Saturday, off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's more likely that he's going to be back for the next series that the Rangers have towards the end of the week. That is still a positive sign. Can we make a declaration on the season, though? Because let me tell you this. And look, anything is possible. This was a team that was the 5th seed in the American League and went all the way to the World Series and won. This was the team that went 11-0 on the road and won the World Series. But right now, the Rangers, as of today, need to win 57 games out of their next 91 in order to get back to the same win total that they had last year. Just think about that for a second, where we are right now. The Rangers, as it stands today, are 33-38. And for them to match their win total of last year, they need 57 wins out of the next 91 games. Again, it's not impossible, but it's daunting. And it makes me start to wonder if I'm ready to make a declaration as far as how I feel like this season is going to go. And I think we're at a point now we can also just standings watch the rest of the way, because let's be honest, the Mariners, that was a series that you needed to get at least one win. It would have been amazing if they gotten 2, and instead they got 0. And it really sets them back not only in the division, but in the wild card race as a whole. Because looking at it right now, the Rangers are firmly in the middle of the pack of the teams outside of the wild card. Granted, they're an under 500 team, so maybe we shouldn't be too surprised. But the Mariners, at 43-31, have a commanding lead of the West now. The Mariners lead the West by a total of 8.5 games. And they gained 3 of them against the Rangers this weekend. So it's as if the Mariners are kind of running with the division right now. And we frankly don't have to worry about the LA Angels or the Oakland Athletics catching up anytime soon. I don't think that they're going to be contenders towards the end of this year. Granted, the Angels did just take 2 games away from the Giants. I don't know. There's a lot of parity right now. But that parity includes the Texas Rangers. And if you're a believer, right now, the wildcard teams are the Baltimore Orioles, who have the 2nd most wins in the American League. That just goes to show how tough the American League East has been this year. The Kansas City Royals, who have been an absolute surprise this year, but lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers this weekend. And the Minnesota Twins, who hosted the Oakland Athletics and took care of business and have now won 5 straight. One of the streakiest teams in baseball, if you recall from our conversation with Bobby Nightingale a couple of weeks ago. But then you think about the teams ahead of them, and only one other team ahead of them has a record above 500. And that's the Boston Red Sox, who just took 2 straight against the American League leading New York Yankees. Behind them, the Blue Jays, then the Tigers, and then the Rays, and then the Rangers. Here's the game's separation. Boston is 3 behind Minnesota for the final wildcard spot. To get to Boston, Texas is 3.5 back. So somehow Texas would need to make up 3.5 games worth in order to even sniff the edge of a wild card spot. And then you have to get another 3 games just to catch up to Minnesota, who, as we recall, they lost 2 out of 3 against a couple of weeks ago. I go both ways on this, because I really don't want to make a declaration about the season on June 16th, because there's so much time left, and baseball is a magical sport, and we've seen so many miraculous things happen in its entire history. But case in point, this is not a playoff team. As of today, June 16th, this is not a playoff team, whether you look at it from the standings or you're just making the declaration. The Texas Rangers are not in a position where they are a playoff team. And I don't look at the roster and think, man, the defending World Series champions, they're going to be barn burners come postseason time. Because I haven't seen it this year. Maybe you have seen some flashes of it this year, and certainly there have been flashes. But have you seen the consistency? Have you seen the day in and day out dominance that the Rangers gave you last year when they were making their World Series run? Even throughout the series, when they were leading the division for most of the year, they sent, what was it? They sent 8 guys to the All-Star game last year. They might be lucky to get 1 or 2 this year. It's these things happen. It's baseball. It's life. It's sports. However you want to look at it. The Rangers are just not in a position right now where I can comfortably see them, I should say, in the postseason. And whether you disagree or agree with me, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't see a playoff team right now. Maybe that can change in the next, couple of weeks. Maybe at All-Star break you can ask me again, or I'll make a different declaration come All-Star break. But right now, this is not a team that's going to make the playoffs. And look, if you want to feel better about the fact, look at the team that they just played in the World Series. Also below 500 team. Also in a parity-filled National League wildcard race. Also in a division that feels lost because they're facing the behemoth Dodgers above them. These things happen. You play a lot of baseball games, and then you come back the next year, you have less time to ramp up, and everybody gets hurt. It happens. That's not to say that last year wasn't magical. It completely was. But this year, that magic has just not been there for right now.
This episode brought to you by Progressive. Whether you're driving, cooking, or doing laundry, Progressive knows the podcasts you listen to go best when they're bundled with another activity. Much like how their Progressive home and auto policies go best when they're bundled. Having these 2 policies together makes taking care of your insurance easier and could help you save too. Customers who save by switching their home and car insurance to Progressive save over $775 on average. That's a whole lot of savings and protection for your favorite podcast listening activities, like going on a road trip, cooking dinner, and even hitting the home gym. Yep, your home and your car are even easier to protect when you bundle your insurance together. Find your perfect combo. Get a home and car insurance quote at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $779 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. See ebaymotors.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
But, and this is where Devil's Advocate comes in, if there's anything that can change the outcome, it's one guy pitching every 5 days. So let's talk about Max Scherzer. Because he threw for Round Rock Express the other night. As a matter of fact, it was interesting because Max Scherzer actually pitched against Dallas Keuchel, who was pitching for Tacoma. So the other night, it was a battle of former Cy Young winners in AAA. I don't think that's ever happened before, but that would be funny to see someday. So he had 2 rehab starts, one on the 9th and one on the 15th. and he only pitched as far as the 5th inning in his most recent one, and his first one was actually pretty good too. So on June 9th, against, who did they play? They played Oklahoma City, so the Dodgers affiliate. 4 innings, 1 hit allowed, 1 walk allowed, and he struck out 5. Pretty good. And then against Tacoma, he allowed a leadoff home run on the first pitch he threw, which, bummer, but that's fine. 4 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. The home run, as I mentioned, walked 2 guys, and struck out 8, which is pretty good for Max. And I know Bochy has said post game that if Scherzer is not facing any other discomforts on his way back, or as he approaches his what would be his next start, then he should be good to go for a few days from now. Will Max Scherzer be enough of a boost? Will Max Scherzer be enough to get this season back on track, let's say? Or is it going to have to come in the form of extra hands? Like, is Max Scherzer just going to be one piece of this puzzle that we need to finish where we're almost done? We can see the pieces. We just don't know where they fit yet. And Max Scherzer, we've just now figured out where his piece fits because he's going to be back in a couple of days. And then before you know it, there's going to be an additional arm in the bullpen, and there might be an additional bat in the lineup. But for Max, it's just fingers crossed, man, because you've got him for this year, and then you've got him for next year too. And you only hope that he's going to be able to keep pitching through it, right? Like, I would think that you're already bothered the first time he was trying to rehab, and then he gets hurt with something else, and then he has to rehab back from that, the nerve issue, and now he's back again, and you're just hoping that for whatever it is, he doesn't get hurt again, because the last thing that this team needs is another injury. Because they got John Gray back, thank goodness. He came out of the bullpen during the Dodgers series. Will he find his way back into the rotation? I don't know. Maybe they're just anticipating Scherzer's going to be ready to go. Nathan Eovaldi has not really found his groove yet since returning from injured list. He's only had 3 starts, I think it is. So he had the one start in the middle. He had the shorter start against the Diamondbacks, and then the one start in the middle. I believe that was against the Giants, where he pitched well. And then this most recent one against the Mariners, it was okay. Could have been better, but he's almost back to full health. And then you've got to consider Tyler Mahle, who's not pitched for this organization yet. He's going to be the next closest to returning. And then right after that, it's going to be Jacob deGrom. Before you know it, it'll be August, and Jacob's going to be coming back, and then this full complement of a rotation will be ready to go. Will they be ready enough for the postseason, or will they have enough wins for the postseason? That's what we're wondering. So as far as those bats that we mentioned, the Rangers did make a transaction today. Cole Winn got recalled from Round Rock. Jesus Tinoco got designated for assignment. They're going to need to clear that roster spot so that Max Scherzer can be added back to the 40. So they probably just got ahead of it in that sense, and now they know that they're going to be switching to Scherzer soon. Additionally, with that, Josh Young and Josh Spores were sent to Round Rock on injury rehab assignment. And that was the reason why we waited to record until as late as we did, is because we were waiting for Round Rock's game to finish, and it didn't go so great against Tacoma. They lost 13-3. That shouldn't be the focus, though. What should be the focus is that Josh Young hit second in this lineup. He went 2 for 3. He scored a run, and he drove in a run. So good to see that from Josh. Not so great out of the bullpen for Josh Spores, who came in, trying to do the math on the fly. Looks like he came in the 5th inning, but he only got a couple of outs because he gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, but he got a walk, or he walked a guy too, excuse me, and was able to get a strikeout. He threw 20 pitches, only 10 of them were for strikes, and he faced 5 batters. So it was a very brief outing, let's say. given how much damage they got on him. So hopefully Josh, maybe after another outing, will feel better. I'm just seeing old friend Nick Solak was in the opposing lineup for Tacoma tonight. So what's up, Nick? Boy, would it be great to have Josh Young back right now. Because as we mentioned, this offense has just continued to scuffle. Josh Young was on an absolute tear to start the year before his hand fracture. So that's a bat that I cannot wait to see back in this lineup. I think, if anything, it'll create a little more protection in the middle because Adolis Garcia has been struggling as of late. If anything, he could help protect Seager. He could help protect Marcus Semien. I think Bochy's going to have a lot of flexibility with the lineup when Josh Young comes back. I don't think it's just going to be the customary, hey, let's put him in the 5-hole. Let's put him in the 6-hole, the 7-hole. Let's just kind of play it by ear. I think there's a real opportunity for Josh to hit towards the top of the order and really make some damage early in the order because of how well he was hitting. I don't know if that's going to come immediately, but it's certainly someone that the Rangers could utilize early and often once he becomes available and he becomes activated. Speaking of the minor leagues, congratulations to AA Frisco. They didn't have to play for this news, but they clinched the first half title in the Texas Southern Division, or the Texas League Southern Division, I should say. So they have guaranteed a playoff spot. They've made the postseason 3 out of the last 4 years. It was thanks to a loss by Midland today, prior to the game that the Rough Riders played. But Frisco back in the postseason, so cool. Some AA or some minor league representation of some of these Rangers. So that'll be really cool to see down the line when the playoffs roll around in September. So now let's look ahead to what's coming up this weekend, and then we'll have our closing thoughts on this Father's Day Sunday pod, really late Sunday pod. So upcoming are 3 games against the New York Mets, and boy howdy, if there were any other time for this team to face the New York Mets, because gosh, this is just probably the worst time to be facing the New York Mets. If you haven't been paying attention, whether it's on Twitter or just following the news, apparently there's a new thing where it was Grimace's birthday that the Mets were celebrating 5 games ago. I specify 5 games ago for a reason. Just hold on. So Grimace throws out the first pitch in celebration of his birthday, and the Mets have not lost a game since. The Mets are 5-0 since Grimace threw out the first pitch at Citi Field. They just swept the Padres at home. The Padres are very much a heavy contender in the National League wild card race, I should say. I don't know if they're going to catch the Dodgers. But now the Mets have climbed their way to 33-37 coming into this weekend. That's a loss less than the Rangers. So this is an equal match kind of a weekend in terms of the records. And you're catching the Mets at the worst possible time because they are scorching hot right now. And if the Rangers want to find themselves spoilers or get themselves back into a groove, this is a team that you really need to pounce on. And maybe they can do that. So Monday, teams back at Globe Life Field, if you weren't aware. It'll be David Peterson against John Gray. Also, there you go. John's going to make a start on Monday. David Peterson, left-hander, 2-0 with a 4.32 ERA to start the year. Tuesday, these teams will go at it again, and it'll be a couple of new faces for both of ththese clubs. Luis Severino, who switched from pinstripes to the blue and orange this offseason, has actually been really solid for the Mets. 4-2 record with a 3.12 ERA. He's going to go against Michael Lorenzen, who had an excellent start against the Dodgers his last time out. 4-3 record with a 2.86 ERA. And then Wednesday, the series finale, that's going to be a pair of veteran left-handers in Sean Manaea for the Mets, a 4-3 record with a 4.11 ERA. And then Andrew Heaney will wrap things up in that series, a 2-8 record with a 4.19 ERA. And if you're going to be looking ahead to when Max Scherzer could possibly pitch, could be as soon as Friday, June 21st, when the Kansas City Royals come to Globe Life Field. So the last thing that I want to hit on before we close this pod and look ahead to the upcoming week. Today's Father's Day, and I gave a shout out to my mom on the Mother's Day edition of the pod, so I think it's only fair that I do one for my dad as well. My dad gave me the love of baseball. He gave me the love of sports. He's always been an ear to talk to of just about random different things happening in sports. I know he's one of my biggest fans next to my mom when it comes to all the things that I'm trying to do in my broadcasting career. I know he's always been listening to my takes and is always curious about my thoughts on different things happening in sports. And even outside of sports, I just love spending time with the man. We golfed a lot when I was a kid. So he got me into golf as well. I guess that's going back to sports, but my dad was always somebody that I could go to. And I know not everybody has the same relationship that everybody has with their fathers. No two relationships are the same, but I couldn't have asked for a better dad. One who's not distant, but he's not too close, not too like uptight on you either. He's always there when you need him, but he's always willing to let things go with the flow. And I love that about that man. And Dad, if you're listening, I love you. And I hope you had a happy Father's Day. And hopefully I'll get to see you soon. So that's going to do it for this episode of Believe in Texas Rangers. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one. We'll catch things up in between the two series when the Royals make their way to Globe Life Field. So until next time, believe in Texas Rangers.
Whether you're a morning person or a bedtime procrastinator, everyone deserves a mattress that works for their style. And you'll find the best mattress for you at Ashley. The new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley brings you one-of-a-kind body-conforming technology, making every sleep tailored to be your best. The collection also features cool-to-the-touch covers and motion absorption to help minimize sleep disruptions from partners, pets, or kids. Shop the all-new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley, in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.